as is Mr. McGarvey for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ms. Devlin, for being with us today. I'd like to take a moment to talk about a piece of bipartisan legislation I'm working on and proud to be co-leading out of this committee, the Focused Assistance and Skills Training for Veterans Employment and Transition Success. We call it FAST VETS for short. It's one of the several efforts coming out of this committee aimed at making the VRNE program work better for the people it's meant to serve, our veterans. The FAST VETS Act is not about overhauling VRNE. It's about restoring integrity and ensuring counselors aren't given unnecessary workloads. This bill puts in place common sense guardrails. They respect veterans' time, counselors' capacity, and taxpayer investment. Because a well-crafted plan is more than a piece of paper. It's a promise. So, Ms. Devlin, let's say that Jane Yoakum from VFW Post 8639 in Louisville, Kentucky is approved for a vocational rehabilitation plan, but later wants to change it. Something happens. What exactly are the counselors looking at when deciding whether to approve that change?
That's a really great question. So that's considered a redevelopment of a plan. And the counselors do have the authority to review the plan with the veteran. In fact, they must review the plan with the veteran at least once a year to make sure the veteran is on track. A veteran who wishes to change their program simply because they wish to must undergo a review by the counselor to determine that they're not going to be wasting basically months of entitlement on training that would no longer be viable. What usually happens is there's a change in circumstances in that veteran's life. It could be disability related, it could be geography related. Occupations are different in different parts of the country. And in those cases, the VRNE counselor would work with the veteran to make sure that they can leverage the months of entitlement they've used while redeveloping their plan to the new vocational goal.
Right, because things happen, life happens. But are those criteria consistent across the regional offices, or is my example, I use Jane Yoakum from Louisville, Kentucky, is that experience going to depend on where the veteran lives?
It really depends on that veteran's circumstances. This is a program for veterans who are all individuals with their own unique circumstances, and the career goals that they're interested in are unique as well. So I would say it's tailored to the individual.
So let's say that FAST VETS is enacted and plans are only changed if there's a real need, like when the plan isn't workable or no longer fits their situation, like you were just describing. What new protocols would the VA need in place within the first year?
That's a great question. If this was enacted into law, we would need to put procedures in place that would have the counselor documenting why there was a circumstance that required this change versus it being just a request by the veteran, which is, I believe, what you're aiming to achieve with this bill, if I understood you correctly.
Yeah, well, it is, and also I think we're worried about this actually going into effect, right? Because again, this can't be a piece of paper. We're trying to make a program workable for our vets. This is a bridge to their independence that we want to have happen. So at least if this gets going, can you commit to issuing updated guidance for counselors and sharing that data with this committee on the redevelopment rates and rationales?
Absolutely, yes.
Perfect. And in your written testimony, you noted that the VA is currently short 387 vocational rehabilitation counselors that's necessary to meet the VA's 1 to 125 target counselor to veteran ratio. Given that only vocational rehabilitation counselors are authorized to make redevelopment decisions for veterans' rehabilitation plans and not other employees like vocational rehabilitation specialists, what steps is VA taking to prevent burnout and to ensure these important decisions aren't being rushed or missed?
Thank you for the question. That's one of the reasons we implemented the national strategy of caseload assignment, so that we can make sure we're not burning out the counselors in the jurisdictions where we have increased veteran workload that they can't manage. I will tell you that the President's budget for fiscal year 2026 does allow for an additional 403 counselors.
Thank you, because like I said, this is about keeping promises, right? This is about making sure that our veterans have the resources they need to get back into the workforce to build that bridge to independence. And if we want VRNE to be a bridge to that independence, we need clarity, we need consistency, we need accountability. I know this FAST VETS bill lays the foundation, at least a stone in the foundation for that. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.